So the main difference is the color. This one has a darker shade of red and blue. There are web lines overlapping on the chest and shoulders for the fake one. And what I don't like about this knockoff is the misalignment on the red parts here. And now here's the Peter Parker head. The paint apps and the details on this knockoff is pretty decent. And now here are the web shooting heads. And the main difference is the webs. So for the original, we have the open web on the left hand and the unopened web on the right hand. But on the knockoff, it's vice versa. And now let me just show you the shake test. So there are no loose joints on the knockoff. Hi everyone. Today, we'll be taking a look at this knockoff Marvel Legends Maximum Series Spider-Man and comparing it side by side with this original release. So I picked this knockoff for 1,200 pesos, which is about $21, while the original cost me around 3,000 pesos or roughly $53. But before we begin, make sure to subscribe to my channel and ring the notification bell for more toy reviews and collectibles content. Now let's get started. And now here are the boxes. So we have the original and the knockoff. And they are almost the same. We even have this Marvel and Hasbro logos here. And the plastic tray is similarly thick, the same with the original. And we even have this RIC symbol here, which is again similar to the original. So the only difference I see here is the dullness of colors on the print. So we have a dull red here and off-white compared to the original here. And let me just put them together to see the difference here. And there's also a small difference on this part here above the letter A, which is different from the original. Although I'm not sure if this is evident across all of the knockoff. Here, this has a large red compared to the original. And moving on to the right side of the box. And what I can tell you is that we have a clear web effects here and a clear Spidey Sense accessory on the knockoff. And let me just show it to you closely here. And let me just quickly show you the left side of the box. And now here's the back. So hopefully we always have this sticker telling it's a knockoff. Since at a glance, this looks original. We have Marvel logos here and Hasbro. We even have this code, similar to the original. Even the images and the letters are sharp on the knockoff here. And the color is actually subjective, especially in different environments. And let me just show you a close-up of the sticker here. So it says knockoff. Moving on to the top. So the knockoff also has a sticker here. And lastly, here's the bottom. So we also have this on the knockoff. And the difference is the position of the details here. So on this part, we have the languages. But for the KO, it's on the back here. And now here are the figures. So the main difference is the color. This one has a darker shade of red and blue. And actually, the color red on this figure is not consistent. We have a darker shade of red on the body and neck, while the rest has a brighter red here. I hope you can see the difference. Even the shade of the eyes is different. So this one has a pinkish shade on it. And I would not really recommend looking into the web lines because even the original has imperfect ones. As you can see here, there are web lines overlapping on the chest and shoulders for the fake one, as well as on the original, here on the elbow. And now let's go around it again before looking into it in close-up. So here are the sides. Here's the back. Here's the top. And here's the bottom. And let me just show you the inner side. Here. And the other side. So here. Now here's the close-up. So we start with the head. And again, we have a different shade of white on the eyes for the knockoff. This middle part was also not placed perfectly, but for me it's fine. Then for the sides, this one has a missing web line, but again it's fine. the other side. But I like that we still have this detail on the eyes. Here. Then showing you the back. So again, we have some imperfect web lines here on the original. And then here's the top. And now let me just show you the bottom part or the chin area. So here. Now for the neck, what I've noticed is we have more web lines on the knockoff. Here. And now moving on to the chest. So my original has a paint smudge here and here. And then for the logo, I don't have any issues. And again, here's the overlapping web lines on the knockoff. We have it on the chest and on the shoulders. On both shoulders actually. And then moving down to the abs. So both have some web line imperfections. And now here are the shoulders and arms. So mine has an excess plastic here on the original. Then here are the sides. Then here's the back part. So here are the overlapping web lines for both figures actually. And then here are the left shoulders and arms. Here are the sides. And here's the back. And here's the inner side of the shoulders and arms. So here's the KO and the original. And still you can see the difference in colors. And now here's the back. Still, I don't have any issues with the spider logo. There's a missing paint in the middle, but it's fine. Mine also has a paint smudge here, but it's fine. And I like that the logo is also painted on the butterfly joint. Here. Similar with the original. And what I don't like about this knockoff is the misalignment on the red parts. Here. Compared to the original. And let's also articulate the butterfly joints from the front. So both have web lines, but in terms of the alignment on the red parts, the original is better compared to the knockoff. So the red butterfly joint is a little bit far. Here. And now let me just show you the traps part. So both have gaps on the right part. Here. While on the left, only the knockoff has it. Here. Although this is fine since it's not moving. And now here's the inner side. So mine has a paint chip here on the original. And then for the knockoff, there's this gap, which is an issue for me. And let's look at the other side. So there's also a gap here on this side. But the good thing is they are not moving. So they are glued or intact. Here. I've also noticed that there's this dot or hole on the knockoff here. And I'm not sure if that's across all the knockoffs since we don't have it on the original. And then moving on, here's the hips, the thighs, knees, legs, and feet. So you can see some gaps and the pegs here on the knockoff. And you can actually remove it here. So this is an issue. And it doesn't really go in place even if you squish it. Going back to the hips. And I actually like the level of depth or details on the knockoff since it's still similar with the original. Here. You can still see the creases and the outline on the muscles. And then moving on to the sides. Here. Here's the back. And let me just show you the inner sides. Here. And now let me just show you the crotch area. So there's no cracks on the knockoff. Now for the head, it can look up this high. And that's the same with the original. Here. And it can look down this much. And now here's another view. And I think the original can look further downward because it has a longer peg compared to the knockoff. Here. And moving on, the head can also look left or right. And lastly, the head doesn't really tilt, similar with the original. And then for the neck, it can also move in any direction. But for the basic movement, the neck can move forward this much. And it can barely move backwards. But it's the same with the original. And it can move to the side this much. And to the left. Here. And now for the shoulders, they can rotate for 360 degrees. It can also move up this high. But the original can move higher. As you can see here. And here's another angle. And that's because the gap or the room for articulation on the original is greater compared to the knockoff. The butterfly joint can reach this far. Here. So the butterfly joint on the knockoff doesn't really go all the way to the front. So there's this bounce. Unlike with the original. So the shoulders are already touching the chest. Here. And there's something off with the movement on the butterfly joint here on the knockoff. So it's not smooth, but it's not tight either. Here. And let's try some angles for different position of the arms. Here. And now let's move the arms of the original. So here. Here's another view of the butterfly joints with different arm position. And here's the other side. For the backward movement of the butterfly joint, it can reach this far. And still we have this bounce in this position. But for me, these butterfly joints on the knockoff are okay. They're not an issue for me. And let's try to articulate them again. Here. And let's try some different positions of the arms. Here's the original, and here's for the knockoff. Here. And here's the close-up. For the biceps, there's no issue here. So it can rotate for 360 degrees. The elbows can bend this much. Here. And let me just show you another angle. So they have the same elbow movement. And for this side, I just have an excess plastic here on the original. That's why it cannot bend further. And the forearm can rotate left or right. Here. For the hands, they can rotate for 360 degrees and they can move up this height and down this much. And that's the same on the other side. Here. And let me just show you that the left hand is not that loose here. But at some rotation or some angles, it tends to be removed easily. Here. And it's the same with the other left hands. In certain poses or rotations, it tends to pop off easily. Here. For example, this one, it is straight. So it's hard to remove it. But when I try to position it here, it's now easy to pop it off. Now for the diaphragm joint, we have this full rotation. But for the basic movement, it can move forward this much. And let's compare it with the original. Here. And for me, there's a slightly greater movement on the original. And then for the backward movement, the knockoff can reach this far. And let's compare it again with the original. And I still think there's a little more movement on the original, but it's barely noticeable. But let me know what you think in the comment section. And this diaphragm joint can also move to the right this much. And let's check with the original here. And this time I think they're the same. And it can also move to the left this far. Here. Now for the ab crunch, it can move forward this low. Here. And I think it's the same with the original. Here. And let me just show you the view from the back. So the web lines on the original is continuous. Here. Unlike on the knockoff. So you can see the end of the web lines. And then moving it backwards, it can reach this far. And let's compare it with the original. So the original can bend farther. And that's actually evident from the back. So the red part on the original is almost hidden compared to the knockoff. And let me just show you some angles. Here. Here's on the other side. And this is from the front. And one issue I have with this knockoff is it doesn't fully go down to the back. So it bounces back as you can see here. And it is somewhat loose when it's in the middle. Here. And moving on, the legs can also move down, similar with the original. And here's a side by side. And what I've noticed here is that you can close the legs on the knockoff in this position, here, unlike with the original. So it seems this is an advantage for the knockoff. The legs can also move up this high. And here's a side by side. The legs can still move up this high, even if you don't bring the legs down. Like this. So if you put them back to its default position, you can still kick the legs forward this high. The legs can also kick backwards this much. And let me just show you another view. Here. The knockoff can also split this wide. And I think they have the same range of movement. Here. And let me just show you some angles. Here. And here. Next is we have an upper thigh rotation. Then for the knees, they can bend fully without any issues. And here's another side by side. So the knockoff has this excess plastics here, but it's fine. Then we have boot rotation. Then for the feet, they can move up this much. And let me just show you another view. Here. The feet can also move down this much. And here's another view again. We also have toe articulation. And lastly, we have an ankle pivot. Here. And now let me just show you the shake test. So there are no loose joints on the knockoff. Here. And now let's proceed with the accessories. We now try the extra spidey head. And it's actually harder to put on the knockoff. And now here's the extra head or the spidey sense head. So we still have this pinkish white or off-white on the eyes for the knockoff. Mine also has this paint chip and soft rough paints. Here, I hope you can see those. Then for the black outline on the eyes, it's not perfect for both figures. For the knockoff, there's this part here that should still be black, but it already has this web design. Here, the elevated part. I hope you can see that. There is also a part here that should already be black, but it's still painted white. And then for the original, it's the opposite. There's this part here that should already be white, but it's still painted black. I also have paint chip here. And some missing white paint here. But again, those are not an issue for me. The web lines are also not perfect for both figures. So we have these connecting web lines here, even on the original. Even the middle part, the supposed middle part, was painted to the right eye. And then moving on, here are the sides. Here. Here's the back. The top. And the bottom area or the chin area. We now proceed with the other extra head. And now here's the Peter Parker head. The paint apps and the details on this knockoff is pretty decent. So the expression on the original is barely noticeable here on the knockoff. As you can see here on the lower face area. Even here on the eyebrows part. And let me show you a closer side by side without the body. So again, we have some expressions here on the original, but it's barely noticeable on the knockoff. And then for the hair, we can still see some textures here, but it's not very detailed. And it's elevated on this knockoff. As you can see here on the space or the gap and on the height here. Then here are the sides. So again, the elevated part here on the hair. The ears are not very detailed. Here's on the other side. Here's the back, the top, and the chin area. And let's go through the unmasked head again when it's on the body. Here. The top and the chin. We now move to the web crawling hands. And what I've noticed here is that the pointing finger and the middle finger on the knockoff are bent. Here. But for me, that's fine. And then the colors are different between these knockoff hands. And now let me just show you the palm area. And let me just show you the pegs. And for me, they are the same. And let's just quickly go through it again. The sides, the palm area. And now here are the web crawling hands on the figures. And now here are the web holding hands. So the knockoff is in a different color and the details are almost flat. And let's just quickly go around it. Here are the sides, the outer part, and the knuckles area. And now here are the web holding hands with their designated figures. And let me just show you that they have the same articulation. So they can move to the sides. Here. And now here are the web sweeping hands and you can see the difference in the details. And let's just go around it. Here are the sides, the outer part, and the knuckles area. And now here are the hands on the figures. And now here are the web shooting hands. And the main difference is the webs. So for the original, we have the open web on the left hand and the unopened web on the right hand. But on the knockoff, it's vice versa. And let's just go around it. Showing you the sides again, the outer part, and the knuckles part. And now here are the hands on the figures. Now let me just show you this knockoff using the original left hand. And this looks nice, using the same web matching hands on both sides. And now here are the Peter Parker hands. And aside from the flat details on the knockoff, the paint apps is a little bit dirty. Here, as you can see on the pinky and on the pointing fingers. Even here, on the middle finger. The silver color in these two is different, but I like the knockoff better, since it's giving this metallic look on the web shooters. And then we have this plastic molding issue in the original, unlike in the knockoff. And now let's go around it. Here are the sides. Here's the outer part. And here's the knuckles area. And now let's just quickly go around the web shooters. Here. And let me show you that the web shooters on these two are the same size. And then here's for the other hand. Now let's remove the default arms on this knockoff, followed by this original. But before we proceed, let me just show you the pegs on the forearms. Here. Now let's put the Peter Parker hands on this knockoff. So it's just a bit tight on the left arm. And let's also do the same with the original. So let's put the Peter Parker hands. And now here are the Peter Parker hands along with the Peter Parker head. And let me just show you that there's no issue with the articulation. And now here's after swapping the hands. So we have the knockoff on the original and the original hands on the knockoff. And so far there are no issues. So you can articulate them and they do not fall off. Here. And I did not mention this earlier, but the knockoff also has soft hands. And now here are the tingle effects. And the original has a clear plastic. That is why it also looks nice from the back. unlike the knockoff. And they have the same size for the head here. And they are both bendable. And now here are the effects on the head. And then here's the swap view. And now here are the web shields. So the original has more black wash on it. And they are both in soft plastic. And then from the back, we still have more details on the original. And we have different colors for the clip. And now here are the web snares. So the original has a clearer plastic, similar with what we saw earlier on the hands. And both web snares have holes that you can put on the stand. And then here are the sperm looking webs here. And you can also put them on the stand. And now here are the web lines. So aside from the clear plastic on the original, it's softer compared to the knockoff. Here, I hope you can see the difference. And the knockoff webs are actually shorter compared to the original. Here. And the last accessory are these stands, and again, the original has a clearer plastic. Before we go to the height, let's check the pegs on the heads first. And now here are the pegs. And what I've noticed here is that the original is longer. So there's a greater gap here compared to the knockoff. So this is why this stands around 6.5 inches. And I still think the original is taller because of the difference in the neck pegs. And now let me just show you a back-to-back comparison. And here's when they are facing each other. And now here are the maximum spideys. So we still have the original on the left and the knockoff on the right, alongside with the amazing fantasy Spider-Man, knockoff Deadpool, knockoff Venom, and knockoff Hulk. So overall, I prefer the knockoff. I don't have any major issues with it, but the driving factor for me is the price. The original isn't perfect either, especially when it comes to the web details, so I'm not missing much by going with the knockoff. Whether you already have the original or not, this is a great alternative, especially if you're looking for a figure to customize since it's much cheaper. And that's it for this review. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like and share it with others. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in my next review. Bye!